toasting, joking too. Sipping and roasting is what we do. Light 'em up, drink 'em down. Whiskey and cigars all around. Cheers, y'all.
Well.
That sounds like a party about to start.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this fine radio program, podcast,
It is fine.
and video extravaganza known internationally
Hi, Mom.
as the world-famous Smoking and Toasting. I'm using my pen like a conductor's baton
yeah, I saw
today.
that.
I like
I saw
that,
that.
yeah. Welcome to the show, ladies and gentlemen. It is program number 344, and today we are doing our 2023 Oktoberfest blind taste test.
I think that's a good way to mark halfway to 400.
I think
doing
it
an
is.
Oktoberfest taste test.
And of course, you know what
in
happens
September.
Well, you know what happens when July comes. Oktoberfest come out.
Yes.
And I was hoping I could still find them now in September.
True.
Yeah. And fortunately, I was able to find enough to put together a little tasting. We'll be doing a dozen different Oktoberfest today and blind taste tests, so we won't be prejudiced going into them. We'll see what we like.
And we brought a whiskey
Yes.
as a palate cleanser.
Yeah, because you can only Oktoberfest for so long, right? So what you brought a whiskey from your collection. What did you bring us this
I did.
week?
I got the Colonel E.H. Taylor's small batch
Oh, nice.
here, which is simultaneously $43 and $240.
Let me guess which one you paid.
Well, I actually found this at the store. I was there at the right time.
Yeah.
And I saw
Was
a
it
guy
little
with
out of the way store?
no, it was a Specs actually.
Wow.
And
You really were at the
I
right
was there
time.
at the right time, right place. The guy next to me was holding a bottle of it, and I looked over at the employee. I said, "Do you have any more of those?" And he kind of gave me the "I don't know you, but I have to say yes" look. And
I was going to be
and I
taking
said,
one of those home
"I will
myself.
take one, please."
Yeah. You got to wonder with the things that are allocated like that and that get so expensive on the secondary market, how many of them are bought by employees at the stores when they arrive? Because I know if I were an employee, I'd be the first one off the shelf would be mine.
You buy one, right?
Yeah.
But the other,
I wouldn't take them all.
Put one back at the end
Sure.
for the end of the day.
I don't chase anything on the secondary market. I've never been that guy where I'm gonna stand in line for long times to get the one thing.
Yeah.
Like I'm just not that guy, and it was so I was super lucky, and I'm super thankful that I got there at the right time and happened to see it, and I'm gonna drink it.
Well, I'm
actually gonna share it with you.
Wow, and I'm excited about that.
I may have cleared the top of the bottle.
I had a feeling, we both have that.
I may have cleared the top half of the
the
bottle.
top half. Yeah. We both have tendencies. I understand.
Extra safe.
Yeah, but I've
safety
always
purposes.
lived by this motto: if I'm going to wait in a line for longer than 10 minutes, there damn well better be a roller coaster at the end. If not, I ain't waiting. I just don't, I have left full carts of groceries in the store before because I got to the checkout and I'm like, I'm not doing this. I'm just not doing
Gotta
this.
go.
Yeah. My pizzas will be melted. Everything no, this is no good. So fortunately, most stores are a little better about that these days. But anyway, welcome to the show, and welcome to show number 344. As Ian said, he's done the math, and we are halfway to 400.
Welcome to Oktoberfestapalooza.
Yes. Oh, by the way, before we go any further, let me just say a huge special thanks to last week's guest. I had so much fun on last week's show.
That was a great show.
One of the most fun shows I think we've ever done. We were on location at Vinyl Draft Social Club. The owner, Doug Meisinger, was
Meisinger?
there. I said it right, yeah. And Trenton Smith from Oliva Cigars was there. And so we smoked Oliva Cigars, and we drank whiskey. And once, Doug, the owner, kind of relaxed into the show, he went back and started pulling out even more whiskeys.
Oh,
and
man,
it was a lot of fun. So we tried a single malt scotch that I brought. We tried a Heaven's Door barrel pick that Doug had there at Vinyl Draft Social Club, and then when we were having so much fun, he went back and got the expensive Heaven's Door bottle that he had that was $500. So.
Yes.
And you got to enjoy the cigars while on the show.
Yes, and we love doing that. We want to do that more often.
And Trenton's so awesome. That group there, it was so fun. Everyone just had such a good time. like hanging out and talking, even
Telling stories,
afterwards.
yeah.
Like, like it was,
I
a
know.
great time.
We stayed for a long time. Actually.
It was fun.
It was great fun. So today the Oktoberfest blind taste test, the Colonel E.H. Taylor small batch bottled in bond whiskey that Ian brought.
I believe it's called a visually impaired taste test.
Yeah, that's good.
I don't know whether I'm being more PC or less.
Yeah, I don't know, but I get where you're going with it, though. I understand. Plus, we will be bringing you, of course, the most popular segment on the program. It's something we like to call Drinking News, and I have a Drinking News teaser headline for you, if you please. Our Drinking News teaser headline, Clogging. It's more than just a stupid dance in wooden shoes.
Are we finally getting a Texas story?
We might be. We'll see. I'm not going to give it away. We'll also tell you about some cigars to watch for. There's some really amazing things coming out right now. And bad news for lovers of Cuban cigars. Hurricane Idalia delivered a heavy blow to Cuban tobacco growers. So we'll tell you a little bit about that. And while it's still summer, maybe we'll get to Cigar Aficionado's 13 long cigars for long summer days. Because once you start drinking Oktoberfest, the summer days are waning. So
That's true.
I will say though, September here in Texas, it's still summer. It hasn't even thought about becoming fall.
No,
yet.
wait a second. Today I was thinking about pulling out my hoodie when I looked at the thing. It said it wasn't supposed to get above, say, 94.
Well, there you go. Yeah. And
93 degrees.
We actually even had a little rain today, which was amazing. So
Don't worry, it's supposed to be 100 tomorrow again.
Good to know. I would hate to be disappointed.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so I have poured us a mystery beverage for us to sample here in this first one, and let's see what you think of this, Ian.
It smells stout.
Does smell kind of stout, doesn't it?
It smells stout. It looks stout. Mm-hmm. It smells. This is coffee and stout.
Coffee and yeah, for sure, definitely coffee.
Yeah.
All right, so taste it and tell me what you think.
Oh, that's a coffee porter. It's not as heavy as a stout.
Would you be surprised if I told you it was a stout?
I would be a little surprised. Mm-hmm. But it definitely tastes like it's heavy on the coffee.
Well, if you think about, like, Guinness doesn't really, I mean, it's a stout, but it doesn't really drink like a stout. It drinks more like a porter.
Guinness has a little more mouthfeel. This is a little bit lighter mouthfeel. I would have called this a porter right off the bat. It does have that really roasted kind of coffee feel in
For
the back,
sure,
though.
very, very much roasted, yeah.
So the more I drink of it, the more I think, okay, stout, and it's a little dry on the backside of it, too.
It is a thinner stout, though.
But it doesn't have a big mouthfeel, so that's why the porter jumped into my head first. It's a little bit thinner.
Well, a lot of the stouts that we do on this show are the imperial stouts, and so that's a different mouthfeel altogether.
This is good, though. It tastes nice.
Does it remind you of anything?
Does it remind me of anything?
Yeah.
Like
Of any other beers that you've had?
coffee beer. So it's a coffee stout of some sort.
Well, I will unveil it for you. When I first had this, I thought, wow, this is this particular brewery's take on Guinness. That's what it made me think of.
Oh, that's what you're going
Because
for.
of the mouthfeel and
I didn't get that on the mouthfeel.
although it's a
so
little
much.
more roasty, I think, than Guinness.
It's got
I see
that
it.
roastiness.
I see the Guinness in there when
I kind of see where you're going for because it's got that roasty finish on it, but
It's thinner. It's much thinner.
Well, allow me to present to you St. Arnold Brewery right here in Houston, Texas. This is their Irish Hello.
Irish Hello.
An easy drinking dry stout is how they.
It definitely has that dryness on it.
Yeah.
And I love the name, by the way.
And I
Irish
guess because
Hello.
of the thinner mouth. Oh, it's friendly and roasty.
Yeah.
Very nice. Mm-hmm. St. Arnold.
I actually really like it.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. It's very easy to drink, which that's how Guinness has always struck me. Guinness is a stout, but it is so easy to drink.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought maybe
We need
this
to do
was
Guinness races at some point.
that'd be fun. What we really need to do is we need to do a show from a bar where the bartenders know the perfect pour, because that's a thing with Guinness.
That's a tough one. You're going to have to go to Keneally's or
They do it at Keneally's. I've been there a number of
McElroy's.
times. Yeah, or Vegas.
Well, that too.
I'm just any excuse I can find to go. To
Actually,
Vegas.
I mean, like here's the thing. If you really want to do it right, let's just go to Ireland.
There you go.
I bet we could get a pretty decent Guinness pour there.
yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of going to Vegas, one of my wife's dear friends is about to move from here across the next year at some point, but she's going to be moving to Lake Charles. And my wife's like, I'm going to miss her so much. I go, no, you're not. We'll go to Lake Charles. I'll drop you off at your friend's place, and you can join me later at the Golden Nugget.
There you go.
I'll be sitting at the bar. There's this one bar at the Golden Nugget where I love the video blackjack machine, and they keep bringing me beers, and I can smoke a cigar, and I sit there and have the greatest time doing what I call.
I mean, that to me sounds like Christmas.
Yeah, well, and actually, I call it another holiday. I call it taking Tillman's money. That's what I call it. Tillman Fertitta, who you might have heard of, is the owner of the Golden Nugget in Lake Charles, Louisiana. And I've taken a little bit of his money. Occasionally, he takes from me, but
And that's all he owns. That's only one place.
Yeah,
That's
right.
it. Just the one place.
Yeah, he
That's
doesn't own
it.
anything else. No basketball teams. Nothing. Yeah.
Not every restaurant in Houston.
He doesn't notice that missing money.
Well, I enjoy. No, he doesn't. Not at all. But I tell you what I notice is that every slot machine has a little thing advertising his book. And that's kind of annoying after a while.
That's hilarious.
It's true, though. At least the last time I was there, it was. Yeah. Every slot machine.
It just
a
says,
little hanger thing advertising Tillman's
it just
book.
says it's good to be king.
Yeah.
That's exactly right.
It's good to be the king.
But I do enjoy the Irish Hello, and I don't think, to the best of my knowledge, this is the only stout I remember St. Arnold ever making, at least in a, in a can, mass-produced for consumption at stores and stuff.
No, they make the winter stout. Every year.
That's true.
They make
That's
the winter
seasonal.
stout every year.
You're right. You're right.
And then the other stouts in general are the seasonal, like they not seasonal, but kind of outliers that they do once in a while. But yeah, they make the winter stout. I think they still make it every year. It's a good beer.
Yeah, and it is, and we'll look forward to having that again once it comes out.
This doesn't say anything about having coffee in there, but it really tastes very coffee.
Today's September 9th, so their winter stout should be out probably next week.
2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah, exactly. So, no, but this is good, especially if you like coffee stouts or porters.
Yeah.
You'll really dig this. I don't know if this is a seasonal or not.
It doesn't say brewed with coffee or anything like that, but man, it is coffee roasty.
Yeah, it's coffee bean. It's that coffee bean roasty flavor, and it is really quite good. Well, Ian, I don't know if we have time in this segment to get to your cigar reviews. Maybe you can give me a preview of what you'll be talking to us about.
All right, time. Yeah, I got this.
All right.
So my cigar today over at Casa de Monte Cristo was La Aroma de Cuba. I had the. I didn't write down what it was.
Well, they have,
it's the Connecticut.
Okay, I think the Connecticut is new.
It just came out. The Connecticut. This was the Robusto 5 1/4 by 54 with an Ecuadorian grown Connecticut seed wrapper, Nicaraguan binder, Nicaraguan filler. The appearance on his cappuccino in color for the wrapper, small veins, smooth and oily, firm overall feel, classic La Aroma band plus a silk footer on it. The pre-light sniff on this, barnyard, classic tobacco, earth, hints of coffee and leather. The pre-light draw clip, I used a punch. It had a light draw. Sweet, creamy coffee and earth. The initial light, Nicaraguan pepper blast.
Really? On a Connecticut?
Nicaraguan filler and binder.
Yeah.
So it was, but it came in big, and then it immediately died off. Big, earthy, spicy smoke, toasty coffee, retrohales, pepper, and wood. The first third, big, toasty, and nutty flavors, so it changed almost immediately. Take over, spicy earth notes to follow with underlying campfire and coffee notes. Retrohales, spicy and woody with toast, solid ash, good burn. Second third of this, sweet tea leaf and spices with wood and leather background. Retrohale is sweet cedar and toast with pepper, solid ash, good burn. Last third of this, tea leaf and coffee, wood and leather, toast and campfire, medium strength overall. Retrohale is sweet cedar and toast with pepper, solid ash, good burn. This thing cost me $6.75. It gets a 7. It was awesome.
Wow, and it sounds like really complex for a Connecticut cigar.
It was really good.
It's the combination of the Connecticut wrapper and all of that Nicaraguan binder and filler, I guess.
It's a little big at the very beginning of this, okay? And then it settles down into like almost a big side of mild, or light side of medium, and then kind of builds back up to a medium. It is fantastic. I love all the flavors in it. And out of 5 being you get exactly what you pay for, you get a 7 at $6.75. This is up there with all those AJs
I
and
gotta
everything
try
else.
it. I love all of their other blends. So
Fantastic. Yeah.
I'll be trying it soon. All right, it's Smoking and Toasting number 344. We're going to do a blind taste test of Oktoberfest beers today. We'll be getting to that. Plus, I'll tell you about my cigar this week, which was very interesting. Coming up, it's Smoking and Toasting. Welcome back. It is Smoking and Toasting. Our program's all about craft beer, fine spirits, and hand-rolled cigars. And you got to love anything with horns. My wife and I were talking about this yesterday. It's like anytime there's horns on the track, your interest goes up just a little bit more, right?
Extra interest.
For me, at least. I don't know. It's something about horns. You're just like, okay, they went all out.
Clarence
You know what I mean?
Clemens agrees.
Yeah. God rest his soul.
That's right.
Ian, I had a very interesting cigar this week I wanted to tell you about. You know that, I am a self-professed AJ Fernandez fanboy.
Yes.
So when anything comes out new by him, I have to try it. And one of the things that you discover when you're buying cigars online is that most online shops, as well as a few brick and mortar accounts, will have special in-house brands that are created for them by master cigar blenders who don't necessarily work for them, but they do it as a thing. Think of it as the cigar equivalent of a barrel pick of whiskey.
Right.
It's similar to that, except that the barrel pick is usually gone once the barrel's empty.
Yeah, and it can vary to be like its own unique blend, or sometimes it's a unique size within a blend. Or something
exactly.
Like that.
Yeah, there'll be something about, and the custom cigar blends will generally continue as long as it makes sense, whereas the barrel is empty, and then they have to do a barrel pick of something else. But most of these house brands are actually quite good, and some are even outstanding. You may remember us raving about the Nica Libre by Oliva.
Oh, yeah.
That's available only through Cigars International. That one's so good that it surprises me Oliva didn't keep it for their core line.
Right.
It really is. And, of course, my personal favorite blender, AJ Fernandez, actually got his start blending cigars for online and retail shops only. That was how he first kind of made his name in the business.
Well, that's where I think blends like Man of War and Nica Libre
and some of the others. Yep, absolutely. Where AJ, the original Nica Libre is his blend, and he did things for all kinds of different online stores. And anyway, he eventually, launched his own successful cigar company.
Boy, did he.
But he is back with a new blend, and this one is an exclusive for JR Cigar.
Oh.
It is called the Samurai, and this week I smoked the Toro size. And I was expecting the pre-light to be earthy, but I'll tell you about that in a second. First, I just mentioned it was a really good-looking cigar. It was box-pressed, had very few veins, thank you, sir, and had a really attractive wrapper. Samurai uses Criollo and Piloto Cubano long filler tobaccos from Nicaragua,
easy for you to say.
covered by a Criollo binder and an Ecuadorian Habano wrapper. So based on all that, I was expecting the pre-light to be very earthy, but it really was more about hay, barnyard, wet grass, that sort of more vegetal aromas. The draw was nice and easy, and I picked up on a tea leaf note as well as the grassland aromas on the pre-light draw. So I lit the Samurai up, wondering if I would get a Nicaraguan pepper blast, or even a Nicaraguan pepper flourish, which I thought might be more appropriate for
Flourish
a samurai.
even.
Yeah, a samurai sword.
Yes.
Right. But I got neither one. The opening notes of the Samurai were more traditional matured tobacco notes, and in fact, it actually reminded me of the way a good Cuban cigar smokes when it's first lit. A little bit hard to describe, but very, very good and very sort of like aged tobacco.
Earthy kind of thing. Yeah.
The earthy note I had expected on the pre-light was definitely there in the first third, and about a half inch in, here came the pepper, white pepper in this case, not overpowering, but much more noticeable than in the first few puffs. Second third introduced notes of cinnamon, baking spice, and some leather. Strength seemed to pick up a little bit from the first third, going from medium to medium full, and then the final third brought out a kind of a caramel sweetness that was most delectable on the finish.
Good.
Although, full disclosure, I was drinking a glass of one of my favorite teas, a salted caramel tea. So that could have impacted
influenced,
it,
yeah.
I suppose. But either way, the cigar and the iced tea worked extremely well together, so I'll take it. Construction, by the way, was damn near perfect. A 10-cigar box of these on JR is about $79, making the Samurai roughly an $8 cigar, and damn well worth it. It's hard to go wrong with AJ, folks. I do recommend the Samurai. Price to quality, I'll give it a 5.5.
Nice.
Just because it doesn't necessarily outshine his other cigars at that price range, but it definitely deserves to be.
But it's
there.
real good.
So, all right, it is time to begin tasting Oktoberfest, blind tasting, and we will get to that next. It's Smoking and Toasting. Welcome back. It's Smoking and Toasting, our show all about craft beer, fine spirits, and hand-rolled cigars. A lot of craft beer on today's show because we'll be doing the Oktoberfest blind taste test. And so while now Terry is pouring the Oktoberfest beers, into cups. We don't know what they are. We're making sure he keeps them concealed, and they just come to us in these clear cups like he's passing us now. And in 3 segments on the program today, we'll be doing 4 Oktoberfests each. We'll taste them, we'll talk about them, and then at the end of that segment, we will rank them based on which we like the best
in order.
And then after we rank them, Terry will tell us what they were. And then we'll do that for 3 different segments. At the end of the show, we'll take all of our information and we will pick, now we'll know the names, but we'll pick what our 3 favorites were out of the whole batch of 12.
That sounds like an idea to me.
Yeah, so that's the way it'll work. And we're up now with our very first Oktoberfest.
Which will be known as A.
Yes, that's right. A. These are going to be letter designations, and then we'll rank them 1, 2, 3, and 4. So this is Oktoberfest A, and well, I like it. It's beer.
I like beer.
Yeah. It doesn't strike me as being as full flavored as some Oktoberfests I've had.
But it has a chocolatey note to it.
Yeah, that I'm not used to really with Oktoberfest.
Yeah, that's a strange thing to have in an Oktoberfest. It's not just me, is it? I didn't just pull some chocolate out of my mustache or something.
Chocolate, and then there's like a little bit of lemon.
There's a bitter on the end.
Maybe that's what I'm thinking, but
Almost an astringent bitter, yeah.
Yeah. I don't dislike it, but I would say, based on my memory of other Oktoberfests I've had, I don't know that I like it better than some of what I would already think of as my favorites. What do you think?
I need something to compare it to.
Well, I think I think we can do that.
It's nice. It's drinkable. The chocolate threw me off a little bit. The color is real pretty. It looks very Oktoberfesty.
Yes, it does.
This one that you're bringing up now looks a little light on the Oktoberfest side.
Yeah, I've still got some of the first one left, so we can compare them. But yes, a little bit paler. Don't get too much on the nose, do you?
Oh, you know what? That chocolatey nose? I think that might be my fingers because I had a piece of Kit Kat on the way in.
Well, see, I got a little bit of chocolate in there too, but I will say that I thought the lemon was more prominent.
I'm still getting chocolate on there even when I'm not smelling my fingers.
Right, yeah,
I'm spilling it.
I think it was there. So
I've just gotten started.
So let's talk about B. Have you tasted this yet?
Beer number B is a little thin.
Yeah, but this one tastes like an Oktoberfest more so than the first one did. It is a little bit thin, but I will say it's got that fall spice vibe to it that I think of when I think
it does.
of
It almost has a pumpkin spice without the pumpkin.
Right, that's what I'm talking about. A little bit of that, cinnamon and whatever the other spices are that go into pumpkin pie. I've never made a pumpkin pie, so I don't know. Have you made a pumpkin pie?
Yeah, it comes from a can.
Oh, well,
no,
there's
that's
that. A joke. So, honestly, the pumpkin in the can is so good, you might as well make it with the pumpkin from a can. Because that scraping out the pumpkin and getting rid of the seed,
this reminds me of...
That's a lot of work.
This is a lot like the... was it Shipyard pumpkin ale? That was more like the crust of the pumpkin.
Right. And it had like the Headless Horseman with the pumpkin for a head.
Yeah. So it had more of the crust on it, except for this has a little less of the crust, but it has that kind of spice that had.
I just want to mention Terry, our engineer, he's been with us long enough that he's really learned all of our smoking and toasting things.
Yes.
Like he's basically hiding these as he's pouring them by doing it with his back to us, right?
Yes.
But I just saw him really quickly turn around so he could open the beer on the mic.
I love it.
Which is
because these sound effects, we don't go cheap on the sound effects. If you hear a beer open, it's because we're actually sacrificing a beer for that sound effect.
Big props to Terry. I like this. You are right that it's a little thin mouthfeel wise, but that can be okay for an Oktoberfest. Doesn't necessarily have to be big.
We certainly haven't hit anything that's not drinkable. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm. All right, so I'm going to just make a little note here. Okay, and here we go with beer C.
Beer C.
Beer number C.
We got to come up with more interesting names.
Yeah, right.
This one has.
We'll know the names in a moment.
Yeah. This one has a bigger nose.
So do I, by the way. Bigger than it used to be. I think it's from drinking.
It's just little gin blossoms going on there. Oh,
I remember I remember I worked with a guy once who.
This one has a very German, like this one tastes like the Eyinger.
Oh yeah, it does.
Oktoberfest. It really has a more German kind of thing going on. And I'm going to guess that that's Eyinger. I don't even know what beers you brought.
Yeah.
If you didn't bring Eyinger, you could let me know.
I'll keep that a secret. I like this one. I don't know that it's like. It's really hard because I like these first three about the same.
I kind of run into this, but I kind of like the traditional Germanness of this.
Yes, this comes across like a beer you would either find in Germany or Belgium, or that is based very much on that style.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose like if it's going to be that German, it could also be Klaus, which is right up north here.
They have some great.
Everything they make is very German style. You walk in there and ask for an IPA, they're going to look at you a little funny. Which I kind of appreciate, not because I hate on the IPAs, but because I think that's actually kind of cool that there's a brewery out there that doesn't.
It's nice that they do what they love and feel like they know the best. You know?
That's true.
Yeah, I think that's a very cool idea.
That's true.
All right, here comes beer number D. I've liked all three of these. It's hard for me almost to pick a favorite.
This one
looks much darker, much less yellow, much more sort of an amber orange.
I can't smell my beer. I keep belching.
It also has a little more head, a little more foam than the others did.
This one has very little on the nose.
Very little on the nose.
With a lot of foam. It's creamy.
It is. I like it.
Well.
Okay. It has a very interesting finish. I'm trying to put my finger on what it is.
It's a,
maybe like a baking spice finish?
It's got a creaminess overall to it.
It's very
really
creamy
interesting
compared to the others, yeah.
And there's a little more carb to this, which lends it a little bit of spicier feel. But I don't think it's that much spicier.
Correct. I agree with that.
There's also a very German kind of bitter to this as well, but a very dry kind of bitter to it. That's quite interesting.
All right. Well, I've already ranked mine. You want to give yours a shot?
I'm already good to go.
Okay. So beers A, B, C, and D for our first segment, and let's just find out what you thought was your favorite, and on down the line.
All right. So I'm going exactly backwards, actually. My favorite was probably the last one that we had. Very German tasting, a little more carbonation, which I usually like less carbonated overall, but that kind of worked with this beer.
Agreed.
The one before that, the one I think is Eyinger, very, very German flavored. And I'm going to stick by that Eyinger Oktoberfest thing because I have, like I said, I have no idea what you bought. Then B and A are kind of at the same place with me. They're both kind of good in their own way. B, remember, had a kind of that pumpkin spice kind of flavor to it. And A had a little touch of chocolate to the nose and in the flavor as well, which is very, very good. They're all pretty good, but I'm going to put D as my number one pick on that.
So you would be DCBA.
DCBA.
And that is exactly how I ranked them. DCBA.
I know. I looked at your chart and copied the answers.
I mean, what? Ian copied my test.
That's right. Ian copied my test.
Hey, listen.
Terry didn't even catch me.
Hey, listen.
I call that a win.
I used to have to pay people when I did that in college, so you could pony up here. Maybe the rest of your bottle of Colonel E.H. Taylor. So let's start. Since Ian and I ranked these exactly the same, let's start with A. What was A?
All right. A was Paradigm.
Paradigm.
Now
this is a brand new one. I've not had this before, and I'll hold this up for the camera. Paradigm has some really good beers. They particularly have good lighter beers like their Amber Ale, and some of those are really, really good.
Just Paradigm Oktoberfest.
Yeah, I liked it.
I like the orangey leaf on there. A traditional German lager that is brewed specifically with the greatest beer for the beer. So Oktoberfest, rich in
I'm
malt
going back
character.
and tasting it now.
Notes of toasted bread, honey, biscuit, and on the nose and tongue. The late hop addition of noble hops brings out a floral spiciness and mild bitterness. Nothing says chocolate.
No, but I do get the hop bitter.
Yeah.
Now that you read that, and I go back and taste it again.
No, it's fine.
Yeah.
That's
So,
a good beer.
yeah,
If I bought a 6-pack of this, I'd be fine with it.
Yeah, I liked it a lot, even though I ranked
Paradigm
it
in
4 out
Tomball,
of 4.
Texas, so north of us.
Yep, so very good. And I will say, by the way, just because of what was available when I went shopping, a lot of these are Texas beers.
Oh.
Not all of them, but a lot of them are Texas beers. So it'll be interesting to see. So
That means for those of you outside of Texas, you just have to go draw your own conclusions and come up with your own blind taste
but
test.
there'll be some of this stuff that you can get there, I promise. So Paradigm was beer A. Okay, and what is beer B?
No label. No label.
No label.
Feasto. How do you say that? Festover? Feastover?
Feist beer.
Feist beer.
Feist beer.
Yeah,
Feist beer.
Oktoberfest Feist beer 2023. So I think No Label does their Feist beer, their Oktoberfest, different every year. I think it's a different
I think you're right.
brew.
I
Whereas,
love this label,
St.
though.
Arnold,
The
for
pretzels
example,
and the
stays the same.
brats and the hops.
Yeah, I do too. And the whole
And the beer.
the whole
Their labels, though,
that
like
goes.
No Label, their labels are always amazing.
Yeah. For,
Best label.
for a company called No Label, they
Yeah.
have some of the best labels in the entire industry. So
Plus Feist
I'm
beer.
going back and retasting this. I picked this 3 out of 4. It was a little bit lighter, but it's quite tasty. I will
It's
say it's
drinkable.
quite tasty.
I like it.
All right, so
Again,
No Label.
I think it's hard to go wrong because these are both all 4 of these I think were nice beers.
Yeah, I agree, and that's good because sometimes in these blind taste tests, we'll have like one of the 4 that's just like
What is
the
that?
clear dog of the group, and none of these were that way. So
bad.
that's A and B, and now for C. This was the one that was a little more traditional German.
Black Pew
Back
Kingsbrow.
Pew.
Oh, Back
Back
Pew.
Pew, yeah.
Back Pew.
They're Kingsbrow, another
Kingsbrow.
Feist beer, and you could tell they were, and you'll see from the can that it even looks like this is the one you thought.
This one reminded me a lot of Einger.
And even the packaging looks like Einger. a little
Yeah,
bit.
I mean, this is very like German kind of, very, very much, but good beer. Like it.
We need to really think about going and doing.
I need to get in touch with them, see if they want to come on the show.
for sure, and we need to think about doing next October, maybe doing the show in Germany for Oktoberfest.
That sounds good to me.
Yeah,
I'm-
that would be.
I'm
that'd be a
all
lot of
over
fun.
that.
That'd be a lot of fun. Anybody want to sponsor our Germany trip show?
Yes, so just
that's
reach
right.
out to us.
you can. You can come along. All you have to do is buy our airline
ST
tickets.
at RFC
And you'll be our
Media.
sponsor. Yeah.
That's right.
ST at rfcmedia.com. So that's the Kingsbrow Feist beer. That was the one that I think both Ian and I picked number 2. It was beer C, and it's from Back Pew, which is another Houston area brewery.
So good job, Backpew. Very German, very
Yep.
authentic.
So beer number D was a little more creamy. It was the one Ian and I both picked as our favorite of the group.
Odell Brewing Company.
Odell,
Oktoberfest Marzen style lager.
Now that was I mean, these
Odell
were all
makes-
good, but boy, Odell, these
Odell
guys.
makes great beers, man.
Now,
90
this is their
shilling. I
seasonal.
mean, come on.
Yeah. Brewed with traditional Munich malts and herbal. Sorry, I have a hard time reading super small prints. Herbal noble hops, I think it says.
Herbal Noble Hops. Our Oktoberfest is a celebration of autumn in Colorado.
So yeah, so
Fort Collins, Colorado.
3
Odell.
Texas beers into Colorado in that. So
They
that
have a
was-
very unique style that all their cans have. Their
yeah, their art is
Their art
is
is
similar
very
in all
easy
of their
to pick
cans.
out.
Yeah, that 90 shilling is great, and they have a series of IPAs, some of which are seasonal, that I always try to get.
the lupine ones.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, and they also have. They'll also release things that are just like summer beers that are
Yeah,
like a
yeah.
summer IPA and stuff. But I always try to pick their beers up because I really like what they do.
Yeah.
And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, somebody will have to fact check me on this, but I believe Odell is employee owned, which is a really cool.
Oh,
thing.
yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah. So this
But
is
yeah,
the Oktoberfest.
great beers.
Marzen style lager. But I will just say, all 4 of these were totally
good.
worth buying.
Yeah, these are
totally
very
worth
good.
buying. So, so that was pretty fantastic. All right. So interestingly enough, Ian, you and I don't normally completely agree on these, but on the first batch, we both picked them exactly in the same order. So that's going to be interesting to.
They are employee owned. It looks
Yeah,
like
Odell. Okay,
Odell
great.
is it was started by him and his wife Wynn, and the most people the company stock has been sold to their executive team.
That's really cool.
Nice.
It's employee owned. I love that.
Yeah.
I think it's not something everybody can pull off.
Yeah.
But when you can, I think it's just a wonderful thing to do. And boy, you talk about making for loyal employees.
Right,
You
yeah.
know, because they own a piece of this. They're
Talk about being invested in the company.
yeah, they're going to want to keep the quality at a top level, and it makes sense. All right, so that was fun. That was our first time through. We'll be doing more of this coming up in the show, and we have a few more things to talk about, including some cigars to watch for that I'm going to tell you about next. It's Smoking and Toasting, show number 344. Welcome to October in September.
In September.
We'll be right back.
It's like Christmas in July.
Oh, yeah, the horns. See what I say
More
about the
horns.
horns? Yeah. Welcome back. It's Smoking and Toasting. Our show is all about craft beer, fine spirits, and hand-rolled cigars. We're doing the Oktoberfest blind taste test today. You know what I love about the blind taste test? Is that in the segments where we're not doing the blind tasting, I always have a little bit left over from the blind tasting
right.
segment that I can just kind of like, very good. I want to tell you about some cigars to watch for, and we'll be getting to our next tasting segment coming up in the next break. But some cigars to watch for that I think you may find interesting. Fans of the movie Ford versus Ferrari may love this one. The newest CAO Flathead from General Cigar, in keeping with the brand's automotive theme. The CAO Flathead V23 MK1 660. There's a tongue twister. It's a tribute to the GT40 series, Ford's classic American race cars that became famous by dominating at the 24 Hours of Le Mans car race, winning in 1966 through 1969. The 1966 race in particular, when a Ford GT40 broke Ferrari's era of dominance, made that car a legend. So that's what this
It was a
cigar
good movie, too.
is named after. Yeah, anything with, Matt Damon and what's his name, the guy that played Batman.
Ben Affleck.
No,
No, the other
not
guy.
Val
him.
Kilmer?
No, the one that was in
blanking on
American Psycho.
Christian Bale.
Christian Bale, thank
Bale,
you.
yes.
Yeah, there's been too many Batmans.
Yeah, there
that's
is.
the problem. And don't get me started on Robert Pattinson. He should not be Batman. But that's a whole.
No.
That would be a whole.
How do you
segment.
really feel?
That would be a whole segment. That would be a whole segment. I don't have a problem with him. He just made a terrible Batman. That's all. Michael Keaton. I'm all about Michael Keaton.
I wasn't sure that Mr. Mom could pull it off, but when he did, he did.
He was the best. Anyway, the new cigar is named after this legendary Ford car line, and it should be available at retailers now. It's a 6x60, and it's made with a signature blocky box press and the square
Right,
head,
yeah.
that whole series is known for. Honduran wrapper, Nicaraguan binder, and filler from Honduras and Nicaragua. Like most CAO cigars, it's produced in Nicaragua at the STG Esteli factory. It's a $13.99 cigar, so $14, and it comes packaged in a GT-inspired 20-count box lined with material made to resemble tufted leather seats. I love this. The colors are a nod to the car's full Gulf oil blue and orange paint job. So,
Nice.
yeah. And excited about this one. In fact, it works great with what we're taste testing today. This year's edition of Quesada Cigars Oktoberfest, that is released annually in honor of the popular German drinking holiday, has begun shipping from the Dominican Republic. They
Can't wait.
Should be hitting cigar stores about now. It's intended to be paired with German Marzen-style beers, much like what we're tasting today. And the cigars are rolled with a dark Mexican San Andreas cover leaf and Dominican binder and filler. It comes in 3 sizes and ranges in price $10.50, $11, and $11.80 for the 3 sizes. Production, though, is limited to just 500 boxes of each size. This is always a short-run, limited edition cigar, and each box contains 10 cigars. Then there's also a 4th size called Salomon Press, which you only get at Quesada-hosted events. So if you see one of those, go and grab you one of these because this is going to be a pretty rare one. It is an unusually shaped head and foot that bulges outward. You know what a Salomon is. And a slender middle section that's also flatly pressed, so it looks kind of like a barbell. in shape. Events are yet to be announced, but they will be running through this month and next. Casada Oktoberfest is made in the Dominican Republic. And for the first time in more than 3 years, there's a new Onyx coming to market. Just as summer is transitioning to fall, the new Onyx Vintage Nicaragua will be shipping to retailers on the 25th of this month, according to Altadas USA, the brand wrapper, and it's made with a wrapper from a 2019 harvest. It's produced in Nicaragua, using only Nicaraguan tobaccos, and apparently they couldn't find anybody to do it because they got some guy named AJ Fernandez. So,
dude, I haven't even thought about Onyx for a while, man. Those are great.
It's a follow-up to the Onyx Bold, which was released in 2020 and was also made by AJ. While the upcoming brand isn't as strong as Onyx Bold, it is intended to be medium to full bodied. So you might take a look for these. They're going to retail for $9.60, $10, and $10.75 at their respective prices. And the Brick House Ciento por Ciento 2023 has been shipping to Cigars for a couple of weeks now that are members of the Tobacconists Association of America. The cigar is a 6 1/4 by 54 Toro made of entirely Nicaraguan tobacco, and they sell for about $11. It's made at the J.C. Newman factory in Esteli. They're very special, J.C. Newman says, because we roll them with 100% Nicaraguan tobacco. Ciento por ciento means 100% in Spanish. Ciento for Ciento, I think is what it actually means. Anyway, they're the only cigars they roll with entirely Nicaraguan tobacco for J.C. Newman. So those are all some things you might watch for. We like to keep you up to speed with what might be new at your cigar
What's
retailer.
happening now?
And now we're going to keep you up to speed with 4 more Oktoberfest beers, which we will blind taste test next on Smoking and Toasting. Welcome back. It's Smoking and Toasting. Our program is craft beer, fine spirits, and hand-rolled cigars. My name is Cruz. Ian Barry is my erstwhile co-host. And, of course, we have Terry Michaels, engineering on the Wheels of Steel, and Adam the Sky is our producer. We're doing a blind taste test of Oktoberfest beers. We got a dozen of them, and we've only done 4, so it's time to jump in.
We got some work to do.
Yeah, we got some work to do. Right. That's right. So the first one has already been passed to us by Terry.
This one looks, if you put this beer in front of me, I would say that looks like an Oktoberfest beer.
It really does. You're 100% right about that. And
it smells like an Oktoberfest. Like it is malty.
It makes me think pretzel, like immediately.
Yeah, like right up front, it is
Not
malty.
that it necessarily smells like a pretzel, but
wonderful.
It makes me think I want
This
one.
has got more nose than all the other ones
Agreed.
so far.
In the first batch, I agree. So this is beer A of segment number 2 for our taste test. And
it's robust.
Okay, so I just wanted to say, I liked all 4 of those first beers, but none of them knocked me out with their Oktoberfest-ness. This one not only looks like an Oktoberfest, it tastes like an Oktoberfest, or at least what I think of when I think of Oktoberfest. Would you agree?
No, this is very round and robust right up front. It's malty and sweet.
It's got more maltiness to it probably than any of the ones in that first batch.
Yeah, it is. It's big, and it doesn't have a big mouthfeel. It's just a big flavor. It's a big, wonderful flavor. It also finishes sweeter than the rest. It finishes with that kind of a dough, kind of like pretzel dough kind of aftertaste, and a super tiny kiss of bitter.
It totally makes me want a pretzel and maybe a bratwurst. You know what I'm saying?
So my wife went shopping at Aldi the other day, and they have these very traditional, smaller package of very traditional bratwursts. And she made a German potato salad, and holy cow, it was good.
Okay, so not as much on the nose on beer B. A little, not as much.
Beer smells just like my mustache. Now this one's nice too.
Yes, in a much different way, but it is nice.
This has a brighter kind of texture.
It's brighter, and it finishes a little cleaner. Not as big of a malt presence, but it's got a great finish to it.
The retro hail on this has a very pretzel-y,
very yeasty,
pretzel doughy kind of
Agreed.
yeasty thing too.
I like it.
It's sweet, not quite as big as the other one.
Kind of digging it though.
All right, next. That downtime that you hear is us anticipating.
So
our next
yeah,
beer.
that's what it was. Actually, I was checking my phone for a minute, and because it looked like something was going on, and when I entered the code, it started calling you. So, so if you see a phone call from me, you know what that is. So, all right, really like
the show. You calling, making sure you like that beer real quick.
Yeah. How do you feel about this beer, Ian? Let me know.
This one has a little bit of nose to it as well. It has a little bit of a.
It's got definitely more foam.
Right. There's a little hoppier nose to this than I was expecting. Mm-hmm. It's I like this one.
This is really different.
This one is big and round and sweet and
it's got a hoppy. Is it hops? What am I getting in there? It's not malt.
There's a hoppy note to it that you didn't get on any of the. Oh my goodness. This is sweet and delicious.
It is much more different from the rest of the group than anything we've had so far. This is definitely its own thing. But it's good.
I like this a lot. This is there's almost a candy kind of almost a caramely kind of candy
That's me
thing.
calling.
Since it's Oktoberfest, I feel like, and you said it's its own thing. All I can think of is David S. Pumpkins, that Tom Hanks sings, "I'm my own thing."
Yeah,
That's what.
I'll tell you, I think any of these three that we just tried, had they been in the first segment, probably would have been my favorite of that segment. So what I'm saying is I think I like all three of these so far better than anything I liked in the first segment.
I'm curious, too. I'm going to go back a little bit.
Although there hasn't been anything I haven't liked. That's what's interesting. There have been no duds.
You know, that being said, and I'm going back just to see if maybe my palate has kind of adjusted. But I'm tasting kind of the same things.
Yeah.
That was my band texting me telling me that we're still on the top 100 list.
Well, good for you, man. That's awesome.
I'm pretty happy.
Mm-hmm. What's the name of the song? Song of the band, if people want to go and stream it?
So my band is Willow Creek Junction, and the song is Nacka Nowhere.
And this is like a Texas country type of thing, because Nacogdoches, Texas is what
yes,
the
is
song's
often
about.
referred to as Nacka Nowhere.
Yeah,
if
so
you've ever driven there, you would know why.
To go to my grandparents.
Stephen F. Austin is located there.
As
Stephen
a
F.
kid,
Austin
that was
University.
the place. It was halfway between my grandparents' house and my parents' house. So they would drive, and we would meet in Nacogdoches and either go to the Dairy Queen or the little picnic area. And that's
I went to when
I would go with them.
When I was in Huntsville.
That's how big it is. It has the Dairy Queen or the picnic area,
and that's it.
When I was in high school, I went to a summer photography camp at Stephen F. Austin.
Oh,
so I have experienced Nacka Nowhere.
Yeah.
I had friends who went to school up there, so I went up to a couple college parties, and I also had a buddy whose parents moved up there, so we've spent a little bit of time.
So I'm just going to say this fourth beer, or beer D, I should say, of this segment, has a very interesting nose. Some of these have had very muted, not too much on the nose. This one's very interesting on
This
the nose.
one, the nose on this smells a little more like natural, like barley, like natural barley.
Oh, yeah,
not,
this does have some barley
not like a
notes to
roasted.
it.
It's very natural kind of barley kind of nose. It's very very nice. It's very round, but I got to say, I got my favorite already.
All right, so I guess it's time for the reveal, Terry, if you want to let us know. Well, Ian, first of all, before he does the reveal, let's rank them.
All right, I got it.
All right, why don't you go ahead and start for me?
So C is my number one.
Okay.
A is next. That was the first one. And then B and then D.
Okay, so you said C, A, B, D. And that's ranking from 1 to 4, correct?
Yes.
All right, so my ranking is a little different on this one, but not usually.
That's because you're wrong. I mean, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Thanks for serving that up initially. So everybody, I'm going to tell you my numbers, but please disregard because Ian says they're wrong.
You're wrong.
My favorite was actually B.
Was it?
I thought B was
good.
Just really good. My second favorite, number 2, was C, which was the most unique one, and I think that was your number 1,
Yes.
right? And then I said A was third, and D was fourth. So we had some similarities.
So our D was the same.
Yeah, D was and D was good.
I think it's hard to do this because they're all really pretty good. Like they're all
Right.
very good drinkable beers. So it like where do you go with that? But
I would just
this is
say-
what I'm getting in this round.
I would just say that I think at least my top 3 out of this would have probably beaten any beer in the first segment if it had been in the first segment.
And I'm just randomly grabbing them out of the bag. It's just,
exactly.
just
Yeah.
randomly grabbing them.
All right, well, let's see what you randomly grabbed. Let's start with beer A, which I ranked 3rd and you ranked
Second.
2nd. What was beer A?
Von Wolfhausen.
Oh, from Eureka Heights.
I like the little pretzel guy.
Yeah, so this one interestingly does not say Oktoberfest on it anywhere. It
No,
is
it
it
just
is
got
a
a little
Feist
pretzel
Feist
dude
beer.
on it.
It is
Feist
a
beer,
Feist
yes.
beer, yeah.
Yeah.
Feist beer is the best beer, it says, and they've got little pretzel man on the front.
And they
of that.
always have some kind of corny saying.
yeah. I
So
love
crisp and
Eureka
easy to
Heights.
drink, so you can eat way more pretzels. Pairs great with a little sausage.
Yeah. So make sure we show that to the camera.
Oh yes, got the little pretzel German-looking dude with the lederhosen.
Yeah. I like him. He's my favorite.
Anytime Lederhosen is involved,
Yeah.
you know you got something special going on.
Lederhosen.
All right, so that's beer A. Beer B, I ranked it number 1. I think you ranked it number 2.
I ranked it number 3.
Number 3. So I said 1, Ian said 3. What is beer number 1?
Real Ale.
Oh, I'm sorry. Beer number B.
Real Ale Brewing Company, Oktoberfest.
Okay, so Real Ale is located up in the Texas Hill Country, I think Blanco, Texas.
Yeah.
And that's their
Oktoberfest coming in at
Oktoberfest.
6%. Not much information on the can other than this cool looking.
Oktoberfest logo. And
Oktoberfest
is that
logo.
a lion? Yep. An Oktoberfest lion?
Yes, the lion, and then he's got a shield, but the shield has a little Texas in it.
Oh, okay.
And it says Prost.
I'm not sure why a lion is Oktoberfesty, but I'll take it. It's a good beer.
It's a German lion.
Yeah. All right, so A was Eureka Heights.
Now, the next one has an interesting thing because y'all had a lot to say about this next one. And the interesting thing, the one thing that is different, that one of these things is not like the other, it's different than all the other ones, is that this is the one that's in the bottle.
Oh, very
The
interesting.
one that's in the bottle.
Is
Ian,
that the Yingling?
It is the
is
Yingling
Yuengling.
Oktoberfest.
It
and
is.
that's so interesting because you picked that number 1, I picked it number 2.
I didn't even have to look
But
at the
it-
bottle to spell Yingling. By
but
the way.
it was close.
so you
I
know.
did.
Just so you know, it was close for me. That almost got number 1.
So I saw this and didn't buy it the other day, and not because I didn't want to, but just because I was already like on my way to out the door. But I was threatening to pick it up, and I'm definitely going to pick some up now. Wow, it's good.
So it's the one that was so unique out of the
Yeah.
4, I thought.
Yeah.
I almost picked it number 1, but in the end I went with the Real Ale. But Ian picked it as number 1. We both really, really
Yeah, I
liked it.
found it interesting. That was the one that y'all had a lot to say on.
Well, the nice
that
thing
one.
for
Yeah.
everybody around too is this is one you can definitely get, I'm sure, across the country.
Yes, absolutely.
Sure.
You can get
You
that.
can-
Well,
I mean,
any place
Yuengling.
that has Yingling, I know it's available in most states
Most
now, if not
states,
all. Yeah. So that's
Definitely
very
everywhere
good.
east of Texas.
Isn't this interesting though, that Ian, at least for your picks, and we'll have to see what beer D is, but for your picks, you've picked the non-Texas beer as your number 1 in both of these first
How
two
funny
segments.
is that?
Yeah, I don't know what that means because we've given you plenty of Texas beers to try. All right, and beer D.
It's 11 Below Brewing, Oktoberfest.
All right, so 11 Below,
Marzen.
another one from our city
Okay,
here.
so
of
here's
Houston.
a funny thing about this 11 Below. Mm-hmm. This
There it
was,
is,
I
if you wanna
think,
take a
my
look at that
100% favorite last year.
Oh, in last year's taste test.
Yes, this was my 100% favorite last
Interesting. And
year.
I
Like end of the day favorite.
I picked it as number 4. Did you?
Same here.
That's so interesting. So what'll be interesting to know is if this is the exact same beer
As last year.
Or if there's difference
or if they
in-
changed the recipe.
Yeah.
Or if there's maybe they couldn't get the same something and had to adapt a little bit.
Right.
I don't know. I
It's
mean, it
not
could
bad,
also be,
by the way. I
No,
enjoyed it.
All of these are great. Like even that one, which I picked last in this, was fantastic. So it's hard to go. Okay,
Yeah, I just took another drink of it. It's really good. Like, sorry that I liked the other 3 better. As I feel almost guilty about it because it is really good.
man,
but
that
it's
Yingling
so-
one is real good though.
Yeah, I'm going to go back to that again.
It's
so
really
interesting that came out as such a favorite.
Are you writing down your favorites on this?
I'm just keeping them. I'm just keeping
So
tab
he-
of them
he
all.
knows
so
what
I
they
know
are,
what they
so-
are in each one.
Yeah.
So
So what did you think of the Yingling?
I thought the Yingling was good. I mean, I like it. I mean, these are all really. There's really nothing bad in here, which is great.
We haven't had a dud yet.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
Yeah, it's hard to go wrong with any of these.
Yeah.
And if you think about the last couple of blind taste tests that we've done, one of which was bottom shelf spirits,
Bottom shelf bourbon.
bottom shelf bourbon. Yeah, there were definitely some duds in there.
Oh yeah. Old Crow did not hold up well.
No, it did not. There were some good ones though. In fairness.
Oh, no, and you know what's funny is when we did our blind bourbon, our bottom barrel blind bourbon
bottom
taste
shelf
test,
bourbon blind taste test.
everybody caught which one was Old Granddad. Like everybody knew immediately.
Yeah, and it was good.
And it was good.
It was really good.
It's not even the bonded one, just straight up Old Granddad.
All right, we have more of this taste testing to do. We have drinking news coming up, and we have some more things to tell you about that I think you will find interesting. Our show is Smoking and Toasted, and coming up in the next segment, we'll be tasting some bottled in bond whiskey. This is the Colonel E.H. Taylor small batch from Ian's collection. We'll see how much is left in the bottle when we come back.
When the wind's gonna blow your house to all damnation.
Welcome back to Smoking and Toasting, all about craft beer, fine spirits, and hand-rolled cigars. It's show number 344, and we are doing Oktoberfest blind taste test, but we're going to pause that for a moment and taste a whiskey from Ian's own personal collection, which sounds really good. Now, you may remember that often when I bring a bottle of spirits in, I will clear the plastic from around the top of the bottle to ensure there's no plastic cuts.
OSHA regulations.
OSHA regulations. And I will often, clear the neck of the bottle so that there is no, chance of spillage or it lessens the chance of spillage.
Yeah, it lessens the chance.
In the case of this bottle from Ian's bar, he's basically cleared the top 3/4 of the bottle.
Super safe.
So here's the thing. Like, I know that you go through the pains of making sure that the neck of the bottle is cleared.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to make sure that I went above and beyond.
You're an above and beyond kind of guy.
And made sure that you would have, plenty of room for the whiskey to breathe. Mm-hmm. And so we're left with, that's just like before I poured for us, we had 1/4 of a bottle, right?
Yeah.
That's 1/4 of a bottle.
Well, Ian, this is a very interesting whiskey because, as you pointed out earlier in the show, it sells for about $44 unless you can't find it.
$244.
Yeah, exactly, on the secondary market. And there's a number of these, different spirits, particularly whiskeys, that wind up like that. There are just only so many of them out there. They get apportioned in small batches to different stores.
Allocated, sir.
Allocated, thank you. So you went into a shop where they had this, and you managed to get it at the retail price.
I was standing there in the aisle, and the guy next to me was talking with the employee, and the employee was telling him, "Hey, we got Weller in if you're interested." And Weller's been a little hard to find lately. It's great whiskey. It's a little hard to find because people have caught on to that. So I said, "Hey, what size Weller do you have?" He goes, "Oh, we got the 750s." I said, "I'll take one of those." And then I turned and looked at the guy he was talking to, and we chatted for a moment. And by the time the employee got back, I had realized that the guy I was chatting with was not only waiting on his bottle of Weller, but had a bottle of E.H. Taylor small batch in his hand. And I looked at the employee. I said, "Do you have one of those left back there?" And he gave me that look.
Like,
That I don't know you, but I have to say yes.
Yeah, because I was planning on taking that bottle home myself, but
And he
now
goes
I'm
and
going to have
gets
to
it.
sell it to you.
And I felt like I just won the lottery for a moment. I walk up to the counter and it's $43 or
Wow.
40. Yeah, it's like
Awesome.
$43. And here's the thing: this is amazing whiskey.
All right, so it's small batch, bottled in bond, E.H. Taylor, and the nose is fantastic.
It does all of that. Like it's one of those that it deserves to be on secondary at a high price, but B, I'm not one of those guys that does that. The bubble gum in there is so present.
Totally. And I know we have B-roll of this, but I'll just show it to the camera anyway.
It's so good.
It really is. The bubble gum, and that seems like it wouldn't be a positive thing for a whiskey, but it really is. It just makes it kind of
it's so
sweet
good. And
and
it's
fruity.
This is bottled at 100 proof. This is the small batch. It's bottled at 100 proof, and it's absolutely fantastic.
It's For 100 proof, it goes down very easy.
It's incredibly smooth. Yeah, and I think that's a large part of why this particular whiskey gets its reputation. Its reputation is deserved. And I'm not one that's going to go out and buy. First off, the secondary market is, I mean, it's a little tough. I don't want to buy stuff on
How
secondary.
long ago did you find this?
About a month.
Oh,
month and a
that
half.
recently?
Yeah,
Really?
yeah. This is about a month and a half ago.
Wow. Well,
Yeah, I'm not, I'm not buying this bottle to resell it. I'm buying it to enjoy it. And you can't
Exactly.
enjoy your whiskey if you don't actually drink it.
right. It's one of the things about cigars and spirits and craft beer. You really can't enjoy them unless you smoke them and drink them.
If you happen across a bottle of E.H. Taylor and you get it at actual MSRP, then buy it 100%. It's so good.
It's fantastic. It is
You know,
really beautifully crafted.
and put it on your shelf. You get bragging rights for having it on your shelf.
Wonderful, wonderful flavors. I love it. Thank you for bringing this in and sharing it.
It's so good.
It's a wonderful thing. All right, our final segment of craft beer Oktoberfest blind taste testing is happening next. Plus, drinking news.
I'm
and
just
smoking
glad we
and
have the
toasting.
E.H. Taylor as a palate cleanser.
It's wonderful. Welcome back to Smoking and Toasting. Our show's all about craft beer, fine spirits, and hand-rolled cigars. And before we get into drinking news, I just want to mention, Ian, this E.H. Taylor small batch is just absolutely wonderful. Not only is that wonderful sort of
Caramel,
semi-sweet bubble gum, but I was going to say, yes,
Cinnamon.
there's also a caramel. There's a little bit of a vanilla to it. It's just a wonderful combination
Cinnamon
of flavors.
aftertaste.
Yes, for sure. And anyway, I absolutely love it. So thank you for bringing that in. You done good, my friend.
You're welcome.
I appreciate that. All right, grab your ukulele, my friend, because it's time for drinking news.
Oh. I was just prepping my chart for the
We'll do that after
upcoming
drinking
drink.
news. We got to get this out of the way first. So here we go.
Drinking news. Now it's time for drinking news. A Florida man with one arm said he had a gator for a pet. When asked about his absent arm, he said,
I had to take my gator to the vet.
drinking news. Now it's time for drinking news.
Cheers, y'all. And as we tell you regularly on this program, drinking news is stories that are sometimes, but not always, about drinking, but stories that are always best enjoyed if you've been drinking. And we're like 8 beers in, and
We're gonna enjoy
and
this
some
story
E.H.
a
Taylor.
lot.
So yeah, we're hoping this strikes you as funny as much as it does
this
to
story's
us.
gonna be great.
So as the troubled poet and singer Jim Morrison once noted, people are strange. Here at Smoking and Toasting, we pretty proudly embrace our strangeness and admit that there are certain things that we are kind of obsessed with. I'm obsessed with cigars blended by AJ Fernandez. I'm obsessed with sci-fi, even bad sci-fi. I'm obsessed asking servers at restaurants I go to, for example, to pass along my praise to the beverage manager if they provided a well-curated beer list, and my disappointment if they only seem to carry Macro Brews and Anheuser-Busch-owned products. But one thing I can tell you, honestly, is that I have never been obsessed with toilets. And I'm pretty sure you can say the same.
People get obsessed with toilets?
Yeah, some people clearly are.
I mean, I've seen people that have like a cow theme in their house,
Yeah,
like the bovine kind of obsession.
sure.
I've
Or
seen
like chickens.
chickens. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
yes.
I voiced a commercial for like a I don't know, $2,000 or $10,000 toilet or something one time. So yeah, it's out there.
I know I had a roommate at one point in time, and we were in Bloodbath and Beyond, and we walked by this is when they were open, and we walked by a what do you call it? A display,
yeah.
that had a French Provence theme, and there was a welcome mat that had a giant cock on it,
Oh,
and we put that on our front doorstep.
I love it.
So I don't know, like it was just a statement.
Sure. But what you're saying is you're not obsessed with toilets.
No,
Well, some people clearly are. Even presidents Former President Donald Trump has spoken repeatedly about toilets when giving interviews.
Some guy named Sterling that I think really likes that stuff.
He's somehow fixated on the process of flushing them and said in a recent interview, and I'm quoting here, "People are flushing toilets 10 times, 15 times as opposed to once. Video of that exchange has been viewed online more than 1 million times." And although that might seem like a strange thing for a politician to be concerned with, there may well be some truth to his thinking. In fact, he's not the only one that seems to have difficulty with a single flush. Which brings us to today's drinking news story about 5 Florida women.
Florida women. I think I started that on an A chord instead. Sorry about that.
You want to try it again?
Florida women.
5 Florida women who were responsible when a wild brawl went down.
Wild brawl.
But apparently the toilet water didn't.
Nope.
At a wing restaurant in Orlando last week. According to court records, police officers responded to a disturbance at Papa B's, the wings place,
Papa
in
B's.
Longwood, Florida, about 15 miles north of Orlando. The Papa B's supervisor told officers that the women who were eating together at the restaurant complained of a clogged toilet in the ladies' room after one of them had used it. The supervisor had the commode unclogged and the restroom cleaned, but that was apparently not the end of the story. She told officers that she kept an eye on the women's table, seeing as they were the only patrons in the restaurant at the time. After a few minutes, another woman from the same table got up to use the restroom. When the customer exited, employees checked and found the toilet was clogged yet again. So what would you do in the supervisor's situation? She told police that she informed the 5 Florida women that someone in their party had damaged the loo and that they needed to pay their bill and leave. Not happy with being accused of clandestine commode clogging.
Nicely played, sir.
Thank you. The patrons became irate.
That was
and-
an above-average alliteration,
Thank
by
you.
the way.
It was above average. I do acknowledge that. But not happy with being accused of all that, the patrons became irate and began yelling at the supervisor, according to the charging affidavit. The argument then escalated, and one of the 5 women actually stood up and punched the supervisor right in the face.
I'll knock you out.
And then
Florida woman.
And then the remaining 4 Florida women joined in, punching, kicking, and pulling hair.
How angry do you have to be about being accused of jacking up a toilet?
Seeing what was happening, a waitress attempted to step into the melee, and one of the suspects responded by slapping her across the face. Other employees then stepped in to try and
you didn't.
break up the brawl. They told cops that after one of the suspects hit the second victim, that all hell broke loose.
Oh, this is when all hell breaks loose?
With cups, salt and pepper shakers, and chairs flying across the room.
Come on. You already plugged the toilet. Salt to the eyes is just way above and beyond.
Because, of course it did.
That's assault with a deadly weapon.
Because Florida. The party of 5, ranging in age from 8 to 26,
Somebody's
attempted
breaking
to escape.
a chair over someone's back. I mean, come on.
Well, they attempted to escape, but they were caught by cops, and the suspects told officers that they were just paying their tab when an employee approached them and was very rude and disrespectful, accusing them of intentionally clogging the toilet. One suspect said the waitress came at her first, but surveillance footage shows that that was not the case, according to the police report. All 5 were arrested and taken to the Johnny Polk Correctional Facility, charged with battery, disorderly conduct, and criminal mischief. I suppose criminal mischief is clogging the toilet. I mean,
Why didn't they just hire Patrick Swayze? Does this restaurant need, help?
they were released after
Roadhouse.
each posting bond of $1,026 apiece. Now, while it's difficult to defend the Florida women's action, here at Drinking News, we do understand the embarrassment of having people know that you clogged a toilet, right? I mean, being unable to flush what you've done at a wing restaurant is actually, it's actually rather mortifying. but it might not be the most embarrassing place to have that happen.
Woman.
So as a public service, we've put together another ridiculous drinking news top 5 list to illustrate this point. So without further ado, I'm sorry, I meant to say without further ado, here is the drinking news top 5 list of places more embarrassing than the Papa B's wings to have people know that you clogged the toilet.
Top 5 list.
Here we go, number 5. The restaurant right next to the auditorium at your church. Number 4, your boss's house during the company Christmas party. Number 3, the doctor's office when you were only supposed to be providing a urine sample. Number 2.
Oops.
Number
Especially
2.
when it's just adjacent to the waiting room.
Yeah,
Right?
exactly. Yeah. Sir, we only asked for a urine sample.
The fan's a little broken.
Yeah. Number 2, a house or apartment you're being shown by a realtor. And the number 1 place more embarrassing than a Papa B's wings to have people know that you clogged the toilet. Number 1, your wife or girlfriend's parents' house.
Oh, my goodness.
And yes, on that one, I speak from experience.
Like the scene in Dumb and Dumber.
Yeah. Reporting live from Florida, where this story may be true, but it still actually qualifies as a bunch of crap. My name is Cruz, and that is your
Drinking news. That's our time for drinking news.
Cheers, y'all.
Cheers, y'all.
I was savoring. I had to swallow. I was savoring that E.H. Taylor.
So good.
It really is wonderful. All right, Ian, we gotta. We're already well into this segment, so we got to move forward
gotta
with our craft beer, with our Oktoberfest craft beer blind taste test. So let's start with beer number A.
It's good. It's creamy.
Oh, it is good though.
Yeah. It's
It's
creamy.
got a very interesting finish to it. All right, I'm going to say I like it.
I think that it's tough to do this taste test because I like this style of beer, and we haven't had a bad one yet.
So you're kind of liking everything, is what you're saying. All right. So Terry, this is beer B, correct?
Yes.
All right. So let's move on to beer B.
B, bigger, very Bavarian tasting.
Ooh, now see that's Oktoberfest to me. In terms of what I kind of expect an Oktoberfest to taste like,
Yeah.
that tastes like what I expect.
That's a very, very like Bavarian. It's got a little sweetness on the end, just a kiss of bitter to not linger the sweetness too much, but it's also really round and malty up front.
Just go back to number
here it
1,
comes.
which is awfully good. All right, this is beer C.
Beer number C.
Oktoberfest C.
I like the C as a number. Like in Russian, the letter 3.
This is good. It's different.
That one is nice. Oh, wait. It gets even better.
Yeah, the finish is great, isn't it?
What is going on there?
The finish has got like some spiciness to it. Some like
That's
bacon
got
spice.
a little bit of an October spice, like a pumpkin spice kind of thing going on in the end. Mm-hmm. It's also got a little bit of a pie crust kind of thing going on.
Yes, for sure. Like a pumpkin pie crust, but it's not pumpkiny.
It's not
just
pumpkiny,
the
but
crust.
it's got some of those kind of spicy kind of things, like that good crust that that you break off a little bit. You
Boy, this
accidentally
is-
break a little too much off and scoop that part in your plate
is
too.
going to be a tough category, tough one to rank. All right, Terry, whenever you're ready, we will take beer
So
number
many
D.
beers. Listen, guys, we didn't have to drink all these beers, but we're doing it for you. So
And here's the good news. We haven't found one yet. We have one last beer to go. We haven't found one yet that we didn't like.
I think by the end of today, one of the things we're going to realize is when you boil it all down, Oktoberfest good.
Yeah. This last beer.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with Oktoberfest and beer. They
Right,
seem to go
exactly.
together.
Yeah. This last beer is wonderful. Wonderful.
That last beer is more pretzely than anything.
See, I thought I already knew what was going to be my number one for this, and now beer number D has thrown me off.
Ah, man, I'm having a tough one on this one. I'm going to go ahead. You want me to go ahead and give mine away?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm going to go ahead and give mine away. D and B might be tied for top.
Well, it's interesting because they're my 1 and 2.
And I'm just putting them. That's not necessarily in one order or the other. And then
These are all very
and then
good.
C and then A.
Okay. I've got D, B, A, C.
Abacab.
Okay, you've got to be of a certain age to appreciate that joke, but yes.
Hey guys, there's no jacket required.
Yeah.
Because that's right when I went solo after that album. I think.
Right. I had him sign that album one time, and when he did, I handed him a black Sharpie, which is all black except for his face.
So
But
he signed
didn't-
right across his face.
He didn't flinch. He knew he
Yeah.
has a place on his jawline that he signs.
That's
Boom.
great.
There you go.
That's great.
Nice.
I love it. I love it. All right, Terry, tell us what we're dealing with here.
All right. Number A is Urban South. Mars and Lager.
Urban South.
Urban South.
Interesting. This is not one I've tried before. Previous
South's
years.
so good, though.
So I can't quite reach the can. Can you reach it again?
Sorry.
Yeah. There we go.
Almost
Nice,
knocked it over.
nice job. I'm going to set the
Although it looks
seat
like
again.
we cleared them out pretty well.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Pretty good. All right. I like Urban South as a brewery a lot.
They
In
do
fact,
so many different things. It's
their
crazy. They're over the top.
Their HTX, which is a hazy IPA,
Yeah.
is one of my go-to beers. Like, it's one that I buy again and again and again. That's really good.
The next one is
Beer B.
Beer B is New Magnolia Brewing.
New Magnolia.
There's a little left in that, so be careful.
That's over in the Heights, right?
Yes, it is.
Yeah. We need to talk to them.
Yeah, that's
German style Mars and Lager coming in. All these are coming in right at 6%. Mm-hmm. In case you're wondering why we're talking like this.
Yeah, you mean the slurring? All right, tell us what C was.
Spindle Tap Brewery.
Spindle Tap, nicely done. And I don't think I've tried this one before. This is Spindle Tap Feist beer.
Feist
That
beer?
was number C. And Terry, what is number D? Which Ian and I
C.
both picked.
St. Arnold
I'm
Brewery.
so not surprised because that's been one of my favorite Oktoberfests for
Yeah,
years.
so good.
Yeah,
so good.
so we both
and it's
picked that
funny
as number
because
one.
last year I didn't pick that as my top,
Interesting.
but
All right, this is going to be interesting. We will go through these, pick our favorites, and be back to bring you that list in our final segment. It's Smoking and Toasting. Thank you for being with us, and we'll be right back. Welcome back. Our show's called Smoking and Toasting. We're all about craft beer, fine spirits, and hand-rolled cigars. And I will admit, there are so many things we did not get to on this show, and that's okay because we'll get to them later. But we were quite busy.
It's like going to Vegas. If you do everything the first time, you don't have anything to do next time.
Oh yeah, well, I have plenty to do anytime I go to Vegas.
There's that. Vegas
That's
is a
what
fun
Vegas
town,
is
ain't it?
about. Yeah, I got to tell you, I'm missing Vegas. I haven't been since my 60th birthday, and that was too long ago. So, oh wait, I just revealed I'm really old.
Oh, man,
Okay,
you're
well,
old.
what can we do? Okay, so this is our final segment. We have tasted a dozen Oktoberfest beers in 3 different 4-beer segments. And now, Ian, what I will ask you to do is to rank your 3, 2, and 1 of the entire taste test.
I got it, baby.
Okay, so start with number 3.
Number 3, Sweet and Delicious Yingling. Come on, man. That Yingling right there. And I went back to it and tasted it like, holy cow.
While we were on the break, and
It's different. It's delicious.
while we were on the break and you ran to the restroom, I couldn't remember which of my cups was a Yingling. I knew it was one of the ones in the front. So I tasted one, and then I tasted another. I was like, oh, yeah, that's the Yingling.
That's the Yingling.
It was that distinctive.
It's very distinctive. It's
Yeah.
really, really good. Like, it's
Yeah, it
well
is.
done.
It's
Good
delicious.
job. Good job, Yingling. Number 2, the New Magnolia.
Really?
Man, the New Magnolia, it's
That's so interesting.
so very Bavarian tasting. It just literally tastes like that region.
Yeah, it kind of does. I know what you're saying.
It's big, it's round, it's beautiful. It's got a little bitter on it. It's so German, like it makes me want to speak in a little bit of an accent.
Just say Lederhosen.
Lederhosen.
Yeah, okay.
I have a friend of
would
mine
do
that
my
tried on
German dance for
Lederhosen
you.
recently. He's like, I'm never taking these off because I don't know how.
That's awesome. I've never heard that before. That's great. Absolutely great. What's your number one, Ian?
Number 1, St. Arnold.
Wow. Come on.
St. Arnold today.
Yeah, I've always been a fan, not only of St. Arnold as a brewery, but I've always been a big fan of their Oktoberfest. I think it's one of the best beers they make, and it's just absolutely spectacular. So let me give you my top 3.
Let's lay it on me, man.
Number 3. This is going to sound like you've heard this before. The Yuengling.
Yeah,
It was just too good to not make my top 3 list.
it's pretty damn good.
I'm excited about it. I'm going to go buy more of it. This is something I'm going to enjoy while Oktoberfest is still available because, by September 25th, all Oktoberfest is gone. It's just,
Yeah, oh yeah.
you have to buy it early. In fact, September 26th, you won't be able to find Oktoberfest, but all of the winter and Christmas beers will be out. And by Halloween, all you'll be able to buy is spring beers.
Spring beer.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's just the way it works. So Yuengling is my number 3. My number 2 was Real Ale.
The real ale was good.
It was their Oktoberfest. They're out of the Texas Hill Country. I thought that was just a damn good
I went
and
by the brewery recently. It was
well-balanced beer.
nice.
Yeah, well-balanced beer. And my number 1, St. Arnold Oktoberfest.
St. Arnold.
And I'm not being a homer.
So you only got one wrong.
I'm not being a homer, though. I'm not being a homer when I do St. Arnold. It was literally my favorite tasting beer of the entire
when we
taste test.
tasted it, we reacted. And we did this completely blind. So it's so interesting that happened that way. And like I said, last year I was blown away because 11 Below was the one that I picked as my top.
Here's what has to be stated, though. There is not a single beer we tried today that I wouldn't buy and enjoy.
Kudos to everyone.
And I don't think we've ever said that in a blind taste test.
No. Every single beer here was like very good. At the very least, drinkable and enjoyable. Like every single beer here was so good.
And I'll just mention that.
And shout out to Backpew for being so incredibly German on their beer. Like I thought
for
that was
sure.
high and German.
Absolutely. And I'll just say that I think it says something about how far craft beer has come. The fact that you can have all these different breweries brewing an Oktoberfest, which is not something they make year-round, and it's this good from 12 different breweries.
I wish you could see the color difference on all of these beers,
I know.
too. They're all
pretty
so
crazy.
different.
Well, all I have to say is we've been joking about how early Oktoberfest comes out and how early it goes away. But you do have some time to go and try these. And that's why we wanted to do the show in September while these beers are still available and while you can still find them. Odell was fantastic. Spindletap was great. There's so Urban South. Yeah. There's so much good beer in this whole taste test. And, for those of you who are watching and listening to the show outside of Texas, I do apologize that today's taste testing was a little Texas-centric. Yeah, but that's the beers we could find.
Go try all your locals. Yeah. I bet you come up with a great blind taste
And by
test.
the way, if you find one that you think is outstanding, email us and let us know about it. Our address for emails is st@rfcmedia.com. We'd love to know what
st@rfcmedia.com.
Yeah, we'd love to know what you in California or New York or Louisiana or Oregon or Michigan,
Minot, North Dakota.
We'd love to know what you guys think is the best in your region because we don't want to be homers. We want to enjoy as much different beer as we possibly can.
That's right.
Have a great week, my friends. Thank you, Ian. I appreciate you bringing in this awesome whiskey.
That's great whiskey. And
have a great week. Thank you, Terry. And cheers, y'all.
Cheers, y'all.
We'll go outside. I know what we can do.